Hi, this is Richard Kinky Friedman, and you are listening to the podcast Fascination Street.
I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Patrick Gibson. Patrick is a singer-songwriter who's just starting to make a name for himself with his faith-based country music and storytelling songs. He has a new single called The American Prayer, which I highly recommend you go check it out. It tells a wonderful story, and you can tell that the sentiment comes from his heart. In this episode, we talk about his career and what got him into the business. We talk a little bit about his faith and how that has helped him over the years. We talk about why he does what he does, why he writes songs and sings songs, and why he's a storyteller in front of a microphone for others to enjoy. He does let me play one of his previous songs. It's not The American Prayer. I told him that I want you guys to go search it out and find it. It's a great song, but I don't want to spoil the surprise of it here. Patrick is probably going to be on tour in the near future, COVID depending, like everything in our world seems to be now. So make sure you check out and see if he's going to be playing anywhere near you. This is my conversation with country singer and songwriter Patrick Gibson. Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Patrick Gibson. How are you doing today, Patrick?
I'm doing great. I'm loving this Florida sunshine. And, man, I don't know what else to tell you, but we are doing good. How are you?
I am fan-freaking-tastic. I cannot complain. Life is good, my friend. I'd love to find out where people were born and raised and kind of how they grew up, and it kind of helps us understand how they got to where they are. So where were you born and raised, man? Where'd you grow up?
I'm so glad you started with an easy question. I'm from the state of Florida. I was born in a small town called Apopka, Florida, which is, I would say, about 45 minutes north of Disney World. That's how everybody tends to point where I am and say, well, where's Disney World when you start to talk about Central Florida? And I grew up here in Orange County. We still have a residence here in Florida, and things are good. Traveled a lot as a kid, moved around. And here we are, man. I'm still a Florida boy.
Why did you travel a lot? Why did y'all move around?
Well, I think that was all childhood. I think that was just, parents made some tough decisions, and us kids got pulled along with it. And lived with my grandparents a lot, lived with my mom, lived with my dad. They got separated at a young age.
Gotcha.
I think life just gave us a road that made us who we are, and that's okay.
Hey, they say life happens. That was the only easy question. Now, I was born in 1974, so I'm going to ask you real quick, what is the square root of 1974? Go. Just kidding. I would never do that to you. That's a terrible
Sound of silence.
So when did you know that you wanted to get into music and specifically country music?
Well, you got another easy question there. I'm liking you. This is good. So, music has been in my roots, man. It started with my dad. And for my dad, it started with his cousins and his uncles. They all played. They all had instrumentation in the blood some way, somehow. Dad was a great vocalist. He played in honky-tonks when I was growing up. I'd have the opportunity to share the stage with him sometimes when I was growing up, a little third grader singing some Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart at the time. That was cool. So I'm guessing my dad got a lot of tips that night because the cute little kid singing a country song in a honky-tonk, right?
Nice.
But, just growing up listening to my dad, and I just found a love for music. I was in choirs growing up. I had a pretty high voice at the time. Of course, then, you go through that change of life and your voice changes. Country music, I've just always listened to it growing up, whether it be my grandparents or mom and dad. And just something about, I don't know, the whole formula of country music, the lyrics. Of course, I was young, so I can't really say lyrics stood out to me. What does a young kid have to do with honky-tonking? But, the formula of the music itself, it just always moved me. country songs tell a story. And for some reason I just took to them and I just adapted to them, and it became normal listening for me. And that was, I would say, man, probably early elementary school is when I took a major love for country music. I was 13 years old when I got my first guitar. My dad started teaching me a little bit, which is funny because you can imagine my dad trying to teach me, and he's like this great guitar player, and he wants to start with the song Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Okay, Dad, show me Foggy Mountain Breakdown. He'd show me, he'd say, now here, do this. So I do that. And then he'd take the guitar back, and now let me show you, and then I'd just walk out. He was good. Yeah, man, family had a big thing to do with it, just the influences around me there.
And when did you know that you could write songs? Like, I famously tell just about everybody who'll sit still that I can barely string a whole sentence together without sounding like a buffoon. So when did you know that you could be a songwriter?
So elementary school and middle school, but even some high school, but, you would have those school projects. You would write poetry, something that rhymes. And, of course, when we're younger, it's silly. And as you grow and you start to take life and you make words rhyme, and then you start to take stories and you make words rhyme. And I would say, I'm going to backtrack here a little bit. I think it was around the age of maybe 14 or 15 when I really went to pen and paper with my first song that I put together. And then I just kind of launched from there. I don't even know if I was writing about real stuff that was happening in my life, or I was just writing stuff. But it was good. Again, country music tells a story. So if you just kind of follow that pattern and take stuff around you and write it down and start to make sense, it comes to you. And I've been totally blessed, with taking the pen to the paper and then putting music to it. God has given me that talent, and I'm just glad that I've been able to use it, and hopefully for the right reasons. But it was definitely a younger age. Again, I'd say around 13, 14, 15 years old when I first discovered my love for writing music.
Nice. Do you write songs for other people to cover as well? Like, are you that kind of a songwriter?
I love to write music. We've got some local artists around us that we pitch to. They ask me to let them hear some of the stuff that I've been working on, or stuff I might not cut. But, songwriters, we write a lot of music, but it doesn't mean that we cut it in the studio and release it. You got songs and songs and songs that nothing's ever going to happen to. So sometimes our friends here and, around home or whatnot, or on the road, they'll be like, hey, let's hear what you got. And then they'll like it. And I'll say, hey, well, I'm not going to do anything with it. So feel free to enjoy yourself. But co-writing is fun. I like to co-write with family. If you find yourself awake late and you happen to be coming off a gig or something, then, whoever's around is going to pick up an instrument, and we're just going to start writing some words. We're going to start writing some music. And before you know it, you have a song. So that's how it works for me. Do I have planned writing sessions with co-writers? I don't quite operate in that direction. I don't say, I'm going to go in tomorrow into an office and sit with 2 or 3 people, and we're going to write a hit song in 4 hours. It just doesn't work like that for me. I understand the industry might be different, but for me, it's a matter of heart, feeling, and what's on our mind, and putting pen and paper and putting music to it. So do I enjoy co-writing? I do. The creativity is just there, and everything I lack, I hope to find that in a co-writer.
Nice. How often do you go on tour? How often are you out there playing where folks can hear you?
Yeah, so we just started ramping up again, and I'm not sure if we're going to start ramping down again.
Yeah, no kidding.
With this crazy world and everything that's going on. But we're starting to book a lot through September, November. We're trying to launch our American Prayer Tour, which is very difficult, being a new artist on the music scene, per se. And now here we are, we've got this song, and we're trying to push it with venues and different areas being pretty solid on, renewing the contracts with the artists who were already playing their events before COVID hit. We've been trying to get on bills, and we've had some luck, but we've got some really cool dates coming up starting in September. It's going to take us through November and then kind of kick off from there. A lot of it is here in the state of Florida, and we've got a couple pending dates in some other states, and I'm not going to let those out of the bag yet. But, we're trying to get busy like everybody else. For us, the important part is having the opportunity to share the message of why we do what we do, why we sing what we sing, and who we're trying to hit. So any of those opportunities that come along, we really try to take them.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Why do you do what you do? Why do you sing what you sing?
Man, it's a platform. Music is a platform. Being able to write music, being able to perform it, sing it, and even just to get it to the ears of the listeners, that is a blessing. But it's a platform to share a message. We've got a message to share that supports the military men and women and law enforcement. And with any song, the songs have a purpose. And for us, our purpose is to share a positive message through music. And I think we've been blessed with that ability. And I think people are very open-minded to it. And here we are. We're doing what we do in that matter.
Now, you referenced it when you called it the American Prayer Tour, but you have a new song out called The American Prayer. It has taken the country by storm, if you'll allow me to say that. What I normally do is ask people if I can play their new single, but I'm not going to do that because I want people to go check it out wherever it is. Where can people find it?
So, one, you can find it iTunes, Spotify, anywhere. But if you go to pgcountry.com, that's for Patrick Gibson, pgcountry.com, and we have all of our links there. And they can even call their local radio station. Chances are they have it.
Gotcha. Now, is there a song of maybe one of your previous songs that will kind of give the listeners an idea of what your music is about? Whether it's If You Can, I Can, or Bailey's song, or even Florida Cracker Country Boy.
You did your research before calling me, huh? I get it. I get it. I love it. Yeah, so, we have a YouTube channel. People can find us there. We have music videos, but we also have our music up on YouTube. And I really do want to encourage people to go check out our music. Again, if you Google us, you Google Patrick Gibson music or Patrick Gibson Spotify or Amazon, YouTube, whatever, the singles are going to pop up. But I'm so glad you mentioned some of those past songs. All those tell a great story. You brought up Bailey's song. Bailey Trender is a really, really good friend of ours. And my 3-year-old daughter is just in love with this guy, calls him her boo. But he's great, and the song explains his testimony. Again, I just wrote this song just sharing his testimony. And I want to encourage people to go listen to that because it's got a great message, especially in this time of life that we're going through. The chorus is simple. It goes, we're going to do this. God is going to see this through. Together as a church, there's nothing we can't do. There's going to be mountains and walls we have to climb, but with hope, faith, family, and strength, we're going to do this. Man, that is powerful right there. So those songs will explain the stories we're trying to tell and the messages we're trying to send. Again, it's all about a positive message through good music.
I love that. Well, can I play Bailey's song on this episode so that folks can understand, like I said, what your music is about and kind of get an idea for what you're trying to do?
Absolutely, dude. We would be so honored, and I know Bailey and his family would be honored. He is an inspiration. The song is an inspiration. And man, that is our purpose. We want to encourage people. So heck yeah, man.
You want to do me a favor?
Yes.
Would you introduce that song like you're a radio DJ?
Okay, I can do that. Hey, this is Patrick Gibson. I can't wait for y'all guys to hear the song you're about to listen to. It's called We're Gonna Do This, Bailey's song. It's a song with my good buddy, Bailey Trender. It's his testimony. You guys listen, experience his testimony, feel his testimony. Maybe the song will talk to you. Enjoy.
Little old pickup truck on the way home. A little bit of bad luck, doctors say. If he makes it through the night, there's no guarantee that he's gonna be alright. Hours pass, air is feeling still. Strangers, family, and preachers, the waiting room fills. Football team trying to take in the news. Mom and dad speak boldly, saying, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. God is gonna see this through. Together as a church, there's nothing we can't do. There's gonna be mountains, walls we'll have to climb. With hope, faith, family, and strength,
Awesome. Thanks. I do have a question. You seem, from your attitude and from your lyrical content, you seem like a fairly religious fellow.
I don't want to say religious. Religious goes different ways, and that'll be a whole nother conversation. Am I a believer? Do I believe in God? Do I believe in plan of salvation? Do I believe that God sent his son, to save those who accept him? Jesus Christ to die on a cross to forgive me for my sins, bled and died. And yes, absolutely, I believe that. Am I a Christian? Yes, I am. I believe in the death and the resurrection.
So where I was going with that is that something that you grew up with and around, or is that something that you found as you got older?
My grandmother in my life was the one who tried to drag us to church. And, they say we had a drug addiction. We got drugged to church many times. I was 30 years old when I accepted Christ. Let the cat out of the bag. I just turned 39. I had my first son at 30 years old, and that changed everything. That changed my outlook. And I realized that I just can't go anymore without God, that I needed to commit myself to him, and I needed to give my life to him. One, to have that peace, but two, lead and guide to him as well. So I took that leap when I was 30. I watched my dad battle with a lot of addictions, a lot of struggles. He moved out of state when I was about 15 years old, and I kind of felt abandoned by him. And then when he went to Missouri, it was a few years later that he accepted Christ, and his life did a total turnaround. So after me accepting Christ and understanding a little bit how God works on you and God paves that way, I understood why Dad did what he did, and I'm glad he was obedient to the call. My dad took his last breath 5 years ago, February 2nd, of cancer. 2 months before he passed away, we went to the studio and cut a country bluegrass gospel record, my dad and I. Just that time of caring for him while he was sick and, handling all of his affairs and everything, we were able to redeem our relationship. And I try to tell people that it's like, my dad and I forgave each other. My dad forgave me. Dad sacrificed a lot of stuff for him to be closer to Christ. That's what Jesus did for us. Jesus sacrificed so we could be closer to the Father. Boy, I kind of just poured it out on you right there.
Boy, am I glad I asked that question.
Sorry for taking time on there, but yeah, I didn't grow up with it. I didn't grow up in the church, but I tell you, my kids are growing up in the church now.
Nice.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
18 or 80, crippled, blind, or crazy, I'm going dancing tonight. It don't matter which one gets a hold of me or I get a hold of them,
That's Hoot Gibson. I met him at Arky Blues Silver Dollar in Bandera, Texas. He's just one of many characters you'll hear from in Vanishing Postcards, a podcast where we explore the hidden dives, traditions, and frequently threatened histories discovered by exiting the highways.
We don't give a flying flip for most of your regular bar types.
Featuring dispatches from the back roads, Vanishing Postcards is a touching, frequently humorous experience, perfect for when you need a breather, but don't have the time or luxury of jumping in the car. I'm Evan Stern, and I invite you to join this ride by finding Vanishing Postcards wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's get back into it.
How was your COVID, man?
COVID, it was quiet. It was quiet. It's like the world just jumped in a suitcase and said, zip me up when it's over.
Yeah, no kidding.
We laid low. We had the kids. We camped a lot. We bought a camper. We called it a quarantine on wheels.
Oh, I like that.
And so we had a good time. We got to travel a few different states. Just kind of take the family out and away from everything. So for me personally, it really wasn't that bad. We weren't affected financially. We weren't affected physically. We weren't really affected mentally, because we tried to stay on top of things. But man, did we pray a lot for people, because it's a hard time for so many on all different levels.
Absolutely.
And I pray that people utilize this to come a little bit closer to God. Definitely a wake-up call for many, for sure.
It certainly is. Now, God forbid we're about to shut the country down again, but it's looking like we might be headed in that direction.
Yeah.
I know that it would affect your upcoming tour, but what are you going to do if we have to do it again? Like, are you going to just sit there and start writing some more songs, get back in the studio? You're going to take your family camping again? What are you going to do if we have to do it again?
So, we've got all kinds of things in the fire since we've kicked back up after this COVID. Definitely plan to write more music, possibly record some more music. Of course, I'm going to keep the safety of my family first and foremost. They're about to start school again. My kids are. So we're going to see what that route takes for them, see what kind of situation it's going to be. And, I just keep praying for God to use us, whatever it may be. We don't hide inside of our house until all this goes away. We try to commit to others and commit to helping others. And maybe there will be musical opportunities out there amongst all this. Maybe not the tour that we had planned, but maybe God got something else in mind that he could be using us on. So, I'm not really worried that this is going to change things. Yes, the dates we have will be canceled, but it really just gives us time to, it's almost like going to the gym. You get to work out and you get to be stronger when you come out of it. I believe that's what our team is going to be focused on, to build up. Again, we may be jumping the gun. Things may be okay, but we try to utilize these situations and prepare for when things do open up. Hey, here we are. Here's what we got to say. Listen to us. So this is probably time to regroup.
Lovely. Getting back to the music aspect, you said that it's a little bit difficult sort of being a new guy on the scene, if you will. What advice would you give to upcoming or potential singer-songwriters, somebody who wants to do what you do? What advice would you give them on, well, just in general?
I think I would give them the same thing that my team reminds me and tells me. I tend to get a little anxious before big interviews, before a big performance. When you step into the big boy world, it's a different picture. You got the world watching you. You don't just have 5 people on a bar stool watching you, but you have the world watching you. And my team just constantly says, Patrick, just be you. Just be you. You don't have to sell it. You don't have to fake it. Just be you. And that is what I would encourage people that are looking to advance in the music business, is to just be yourself. Find yourself, find your sound, find your appearance, but be you. Be you and be marketable, but be you.
Sometimes that might be easier said than done, because after all, this is a performance, right? So how do you negotiate those two Patricks? There's the Patrick who is standing on stage, belting out his heart to a crowd of enthusiastic patrons. And then there's the Patrick that's at home telling his kid to clean up his room, but you're not singing at your kid, right? You're not like, you don't pick up the guitar and tell him to go clean his room in song. So how do you negotiate those two Patricks?
I don't know there's much of a separation. I am who I am at home as I am on stage, except for on stage, yes, I'm holding the guitar, yes, I'm singing. But I think your personality is going to come out. Your personality is going to be evident. There may be some artists out there who come off to be nice when you're watching perform, and then when they're done and they go off the stage, they are a different person. The way I feel in my mind and my heart, don't become that artist. Really try to let people know who you are. And I think if you're a songwriter, I think that's going to come out. The message is going to tell all. So even when you're writing, write a message that fits you. For me, it's about a positive message through music. Everybody's different. Everybody has their want, but I think you can do the two roles and you can still be you. You're just going to add a few different pieces here. You're going to take away a few different pieces there. And yes, man, the industry is dangerous at some point. It's scary, and surround yourself with good people and always, always do your best to put God first. If you can give it to him, he's going to lead you into the direction of which he has called for you.
Well said. You mentioned the music industry. Do you think that the music industry has changed since you were a kid to now?
Behind the scenes, growing up, I didn't know much about the behind the scenes, other than my dad honky-tonk in the local venues and stuff.
Sure.
But just music-wise, it absolutely has. I think it's forming to the people. I don't want to be that guy to judge it, but let's say I think people are out more for, it's like they have to push, they have to get numbers, they have to do this. Like one of the issues we have, and it's pretty rough, is, well, they want to see what your social media is like. How many social followers do you have? I'm thinking, is that really how you judge and base talent? Over social media followers? Because, listen, I think me and you both know that some of the good music is the music that you'll never hear on the radio.
That's the truth.
Yeah, so it's tough. They're looking at different things, and I get it. That's what the world is driving. But I think as an artist, regardless of the industry, artists, figure out how to be yourself and then try to cater a little bit more to what they're wanting, but give them more of yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yes, I feel the industry has changed and I don't know where it's going, but all I can do is be me. And if the fans are liking it, if the listeners are liking it, if we're touching and moving people and we're doing what we feel God has called us to do, I think we're going to be all right.
Awesome. That is an excellent sentiment to go out on. Patrick, can you tell people where they can find you on social media, since we were just talking about that?
Yeah, Facebook /Patrick Gibson Music. You can find us at pgcountry.com. That has all of our links there as well. And we would love for you guys to say hello, reach out on social media, say, hey, I heard you on this interview, and we want to hear more of your music. And we sure hope to see you guys on the road.
Nice. Now, I know that you don't want to spoil some of those other states that you might be going to, but any chance you're coming my way?
And you were in Texas, right?
That is correct.
What town exactly were you located?
Oh, I'm in San Antonio, just a stone's throw from the big Austin.
Gotcha. We may have an event possibly just around the Odessa area.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick Gibson, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having us, man. That's what it's all about, is helping us get the message and the word out. And thank you for taking your time to share with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And everybody, make sure you go search out The American Prayer. It's Patrick's new hit. It's a great single. You're really going to enjoy it. It's got a lot of heart. It tells a story, and I think it might say some things that some of us need to hear right now. So make sure you go find that. It's called The American Prayer, and you can find it everywhere. Thank you, Patrick, for your time, and you have a great rest of your weekend, man.
Yeah, you got it. I appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to hearing it.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Welcome to the Player Series. I'm Gary Player, and throughout the series, we're going to take you through incredible stories, conversations with legends and current players, perspectives on current events in and around golf, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe to the Player Series on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2001 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jack's Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.